All right, guys, we got round 4 coming in here hot. We are ready, on fire, to play this next match, and let's see if we can manage to go 3-1 here for this particular match, and then eventually, hopefully, 4-1 as well. We'll see, we'll see. Definitely feel like the list is performing better than I expected, to be honest. Although I didn't really have any particular expectations for this list overall, but let's go ahead and jump right into the matches. If you're interested in this deck list, by the way, you can check out all the details of the card choices and the changes that were made. You can see all of that in match 1, where that was discussed. We're not going back over that. We're going forward. See you in the match. In case you missed match 3, I just want to point out that we did in fact play against Punthin Wine, one of the Amulet Paragons, Amulet Masters, however you want to say it. We just faced against that guy, and he wrecked us. Spoiler, I mean, you could see the match result there, but definitely a very interesting matchup. I highly suggest that you go and check that out. And if you don't, well, I'm coming to your house. You have no choice. There's only one option here. This hand, I don't love. We don't have a Titan. It's not particularly fast, although on the play, a turn 3 Azusa is a little bit better than on the draw. We have interaction for counterspell. Well, interaction. I don't know if I would call Cavern of Souls interaction, but we have a Cavern of Souls to punch through a counterspelly type deck. We have Radiant Fountain for an aggressive deck, and we got some ways to pick it up. So we could even Cavern through Azusa and then play Gruul Turf, pick up Cavern of Souls or whatever, and have it to reset for Titan. I mean, it's really bad, but it's also not that bad, if that makes any sense to you. We'll pitch back one of these growth chambers, I think. 2 bounce lands is probably enough. And we'll lead on Breeding Pool, I guess. We could draw Explore here, so don't want to take 2 damage to cast that Explore. If we draw it, of course. Raging Ravine, go. So, there's the Explorer. That's actually great. This Explorer is exactly what this hand wanted. But I was going to say, Raging Ravine generally symbolizes a good matchup for Amulet in these, like, Jund mid-range type decks. Let's go ahead and get this Growth Chamber out there. Yeah, Jund mid-range tends to be a pretty good matchup for Amulet, although if they just have Discard Spell for our Azusa here, we might be in a little bit of trouble, but if they don't, then we'll already be at Titan mana, so they won't have that much time to kill us before Primeval Titan just comes into play and gets Feel the Dead and Bajuka Bog and that kind of thing, and then completely goes over the top of what they're doing. This one I'm not scared of at all. If I were playing Sakura Tribe Scout, then this one might bother me a little bit. But we're playing Grazer, and there's a Titan. Let's float some mana here. Play a Radiant Fountain. Play Azusa. Play Cavern into Gruul Turf to get our guaranteed value out of Azusa here and make sure that we don't just get some random kind of removal spell in response. This gives our opponent no way to stop us from getting our full land drops here, and we can still gain 2 more life from this Radiant Fountain. So that's good news. And we have a Titan this upcoming turn, so they need something good. If this is an Inquisition, I will probably summon this pact in response. The Clothis. Do not care about that one. Sorry to tell you, opponent, but that one's not quite good enough. Guess what time it is, guys? That's right. It's prime time. And we have a hasty prime time here as well, right? So that's 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Thank you for the God top decks. Let's get this bad boy. Yeah, I highly doubt that our opponent can beat this, if I'm just being completely honest. We didn't even use Cavern of Souls to give this guy uncounterable. No respect for our opponent having Pact of Negation whatsoever. We'll get Valakut and Hanweir. We will kill away this Renin 6, and we will get Feel the Dead, and see if our opponent... Actually, it might be wise to get Tolari West, so that if they have a Maelstrom Pulse or something to kill our Titan, we don't just lose on the spot to not having access to a Titan at all. It's very tempting to just go straight for Feel the Dead, but I don't think that's necessary here. I think just getting Tolari West and a bounce land is going to be perfectly fine. Yeah, let's do that. They can't do anything about it. No big deal. No big deal. Famous last words, am I right? And now we have... I'll do the math on how much mana we have in a second. But I was thinking we might be able to pay for a Pact of Negation and a Summoner's Pact if we wanted to. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So combined, this is 9. We have double green and double blue here. So we could definitely pay for both if we wanted to. Yeah, I don't think there's basically anything we lose to here. I guess a Blood Moon. No, even a Blood Moon, we can just counter it, so... This was just the perfect hand, I guess. Bloodbraid Elf to see if they can Spice Land off the top. Maelstrom Pulse. They have the Pulse. Interesting. Do I want to counter this? See, if we pay 4, then that leaves us with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is not enough to transmute a Telarius, although we have 6 on board plus 6 with the Growth Chamber. I guess we don't actually care about that. Yeah, let's just let it go. Alright, let's pay our Pact trigger. Let's not tap that one. Let's tap Gruul Turf, Breeding Pool, and Radiant Fountain. Yes. Okay, so we're gonna float some mana here with a Growth Chamber. And on the third play of this Growth Chamber, we need to float and pick up the Telarius. Float, pick up. We will transmute this, leaving all the green. We will Summoner's Pact. We'll get a Titan. Let's not use the colored source here. We'll tap our Valakut, I guess, so we can get a second Valakut and still be able to pay the battlements. That seems fine to me. Yes. We'll get... Well, we could get 2 bounce land. We could get Telarius plus bounce land and be able to play a Dryad, but we can't haste, so... Yeah, let's just do Valakut and a random land. Let's go Field of Dead. If we click these amulets, the field triggers will just stack automatically. If you're wondering why some people hate Amulet, this is the reason. That is the reason right there. What you just saw, that's why. We want... I mean, Klothys is a little bit of a weird one from Jund, but we still saw Maelstrom Pulse, so I'm going to assume this is more of a mid-ranging type strategy. They might have Kroxa, which is why I'm bringing the Baloth. I'm expecting some kind of, like, Ashiok or Damping Sphere or... I don't know. Something that Beast Within will be good against. Rex Sage, I'm not bringing in until we see an actual target for it. We could bring in Abrades and or Dismembers for possible Dark Confidants, which I don't hate. I think I'm going to err on the side of Dismember, perhaps. Although we don't know that they have those, but... let's actually just be as proactive as possible and then adjust to what we see in Game 2. So here we want to trim... actually, maybe not Summoner's Pact. If we see Ashiok, we'll definitely trim a Summoner's Pact, but up until that point, having maximum number of Titan top decks is going to be important, I think. We can trim a couple Grazers. What else? Tireless Tracker should be fantastic here. Trim 2 more cards. I guess Cavernous Souls, not doing a whole lot. And 1 more. Maybe Ancient Stirrings. Although that can find T-West or a Valakut, which I do like. I guess we'll just trim 1 Pact and submit like this. We have Explorers and Tracker and Tireless Tracker to cantrip into additional copies of Primeval Titan if our initial one happens to get discarded, so... That game 1 was rude. From us. We were rude. This hand looks fine. I don't love that this tracker will likely get no value. If they cast a discard spell, they might take the amulet in all honesty, but still. This hand has the mana that it needs. It has a threat that can also draw some more cards. It has turn 1 amulet. It's very varied. So unless they have double discard spell here, this hand is well set up. And even if they have double discard spell, we're only a land away and a Titan away from being able to actually cast the big guy himself. So they take the amulet. Not really a surprise here. Let's play out our forest. And let's play out our grazer. Usually I would put Gruul Turf into play in a situation like this, but since we have a wealth of regular lands, I want to play around a Fulminator Mage or something like that here, so let's just Vesuva their Overgrown Tomb and pass it right back to them. Also, worth noting, keeping this Gruul Turf in hand lets us replay it several times into a Tios tracker if they have no way to answer it. I find that quite unlikely, but I mean, I find that them not being able to answer it would be quite unlikely, but it is possible. I've definitely run into that kind of situation. My opponent seems to be thinking very hard at our instep. I respect it. I guess what happened in game 1 just goes to show that I didn't even need the Pact of Negation. I could have cast it on that Maelstrom Pulse, but didn't need to. Although maybe that is a signal that I should have gone for Field of the Dead instead of setting up another Tolaria West, because I had the protection from Maelstrom Pulse if I absolutely needed it. Maybe not, though. I don't know. I think there's a lot of things that I could have done there, and it would have made no difference. If we didn't have a Zusa in play, I would most definitely have gone for the Field of the Dead, though, because we need to make sure that we don't just lose our Titan to a Liliana minus. That's one of the nice things about Grazer in this matchup as well. Like, we side a couple out because they're terrible top decks, but having a Grazer in play means that we can play this tracker and not be scared that they'll make us sacrifice it, right? We can play our Titan, even without Field of the Dead active, and make sure that our Titan will stay in play against specifically Liliana of the Veil. Don't want to show them this battlements. They don't need to know that we have that one. I mean, we're on all lands here, but on the right side, we have enough mana to cast Primeval Titan if we get there. So, and it looks like they're stuck on one land, so. Thoughtseize away, my friend. Thoughtseize away. Explosives. I think we're going to go ahead and put that one out preemptively on 2. Yeah. Is it possibly a bit hasty? Yes. But, I mean, our opponent, as exemplified by the turn that just went by, they can't really afford to hold on to their discard spells if they happen to have more of them, so. And this also saves us 2 mana down the line. Having this already in play means that we don't have to pay the upfront investment. Now we can just hold it up. There's a Titan. All right, let's get this Gruul Turf in play then. And we'll pick up this redundant forest, and we'll pass it back. Can't really haste this Titan, but just getting zombies from Field of the Dead should be good enough, I would think. Please play a 2-drop here. Just tap out so we can kill it on your instep and untap and slam Titan, and that'll just be game. Alright. That one's kind of annoying, though, because they will be able to Thoughtseize us again if they have it. Oh, no, they won't, because they played a land this turn. Yes. Yeah, you're sorry to tell you, opponent, but you are just dead. I do feel bad that they got stuck on one land that whole time, so. But I am not gonna give them any mercy for it. After all, this is a winner's world. Titan. Yes. So we can get T-West and Simic Growth Chamber and pick up the Gruul Turf and be able to transmute Tolaria West. Although we already have a Gruul Turf in hand, so we just want blue sources. I guess T-West plus Breeding Pool makes some sense. We could also get Feel the Dead and a Bajuka Bog and try to just end it that way. I think going for the T-West is going to be a good idea, though. Let's go T-West and Growth Chamber. This way we get to pick up, I guess, our Vesuva. That seems fine. And now, once we finally get a Feel the Dead into play, we can immediately play a copy of it. Goif. You got it. Sorry to say, opponent, but that one does not really scare me. All right, let's go ahead and get this over with. I mean, we could. I was gonna say we could transmute for Dryad, but then that plays into Fatal Push. Guess there's no real reason to do that. Swing. And now we can get Feel the Dead and Bajuka Bog just to make sure that they have no way of killing our Titan with their puny Tarmogoyf. I mean, it's soon to be puny. And we'll bog them. Just because their graveyard is more impactful than mine. I also think it has more types. We have Creature and Artifact, and they have Land, Sorcery, Planeswalker, so yeah. That is just going to be enough to do it. That was kind of an embarrassing league for our opponent, and I do apologize for that. We kind of just had everything we needed in Game 1. Top decked the Explorer, top decked the Dryad, top decked the Titan, and then in Game 2 we just kind of ran over them. But, to be fair, like I said, the hand that we kept was quite strong against a mid-range deck like that. Like, you can't just Thoughtseize your Titan opponent but not clock them and expect that to work out, because we have many avenues to win the game and many ways to find a Primeval Titan off the top of our deck. So, although I can't say too much about it because they did get stuck on one land, so regardless, we are 3-1, so that's fantastic. The 4-1 dream is still alive, and I do love to 4-1. If we go 3-2, that's totally fine with me as well, as you know by this point. And if you don't, you should subscribe, because I make good content, I think. Let me know if I don't. But yeah, as I say all the time, 3-2, 4-1, 5-0, 1-4, doesn't matter. The whole point is learning, and hopefully you learned something from this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you'll be back for another one in the future. So, with that said, this is Red Face Menace, signing off.